I want to know who ain't in them Epstein files? Ain't no black people in them Epstein files. Ain't no Latinos in them Epstein files. Ain't no illegal immigrants in no Epstein files. Ain't no Haitians who are eating dogs and cats in them Epstein files. Ain't no illegal immigrants in no Epstein files. But you know who was in them Epstein files? A bunch of white men. A lot of white men. 99% of them are white men who are in them Epstein files. That's why they don't want to release them. But you don't see no illegal immigrants in there, do y'all? Ain't no Barack Obama or Kamala Harris in them files, none of that. Y'all don't see none of that, do y'all? Y'all just see white men in those Epstein files. Powerful white men in those Epstein files. So why wouldn't Democrats want to release the files as MAGA say? Those ain't our people. We don't give a fuck about no Larry Summers. We don't give no fuck about no J.P. Morgan, Chase. Who gives a fuck about them? Those not our people. Bill Clinton, go get Freaky Bill all y'all want to. We do not care. But we know our people are not in them Epstein files. No blacks, no Latinos, no Asians, no Mexicans, no Indians. But you know who's in there? Trump and all his white friends, all them powerful people who try to kill young girls are white men. And that's why they don't want to release those Epstein files. Tell me if I'm wrong, y'all. Tell me if I'm wrong. Do y'all know anybody that's not white that's in those Epstein files, y'all? So release the damn files, and MAGA don't use, we don't want the files released. Them ain't our people. Those ain't our people. So we need everybody accountable for their actions. But we know who in them files, y'all. All white men. All white men.
D.L. Hughley just dropped some bombs, some knowledge right now. You know what he said? He said, you know who's not on the Epstein list? No black people, no immigrants, no trans, no drags. And you know what? That is so true.
What does race got to do with Epstein? Epstein is white. Most of the politicians are white. Like, what are y'all talking about? I don't get it. How are black people... Like, what do black votes got to do with this? I don't get it. Are y'all really that brainwashed? Like, I don't understand. I really don't understand the logic.
Well, it's nice to know that these MAGA predators are coming out of the woodworks. The predator-in-chief has given them a platform and has enabled them to come out and be bold about their stance and their ideology about grape. But for those of you that don't know, Dean Withers is a large content creator. He's a political debater here on TikTok and on other apps as well. And a day or two ago, he had a maggot go up to his panel and ask a question about grape.
Are you asking me why it's wrong to children?
Yeah, I need you to tell me why it is wrong in your eyes to do that. Yes. Do you need me to repeat it? Can you not hear me? Do you have too many cocks in your ears, or what's up? Why is it wrong? Is that too hard of a question? You can mute me.
I need TikTok to do me a big favor. We need to make this account famous. As an essay survivor myself, it is...
You know that one thing that everyone expects to happen to black people, but then it doesn't happen. Because what people expected according to the stereotypes, racialized stereotypes that they have towards black people, majority of the time as time unravels, this keeps on revealing that black people have always been innocent in the books of the United States, at least true books of the United States. And this explains why people have been pushing for the Epstein files to be released because they showed some crucial things, some important things to about white America. And to the surprise of some of white Americans is that they didn't believe or didn't expect that some things or some truths will come and be said about them. They didn't expect that. They expected it to be black people will be over on the Epstein files, black people doing wrong things. That's what they expected, at least according to what their history taught them. But the reality, as time goes by, the reality keeps on showing them that black people have nothing wrong with the United States. At least Epstein files prove that, because black people, there were no ties about black people with the Epstein files. Rather, it was white people, page after page. So the reaction to Epstein files, particularly the anger expressed by some white Americans over the lack of prominent black figures, reveals more about racial psychology and projection than about facts themselves. Now, scholars of race and power argue that there exists a long-standing expectation within white American society that black people must be implicated in very major moral or social scandals to preserve narratives of shared guilt. When evidence fails to confirm this expectation, it destabilizes a deeply ingrained racial assumptions. Brothers and sisters, let's watch the video. I'll be back.
My duty to expose these types of accounts, all of these beta males that hide behind these accounts and think that it's justifiable. They think that their comments and the way that they speak on social media have no consequences. TikTok, you all know what to do. Share this video, like it, place it on other apps, do what you have to do. And every single time these beta males come out of the woodworks on social media, it is our job to screen record this and make sure that their accounts become famous and let the whole world know where they stand on this. This is predatory criminal ideology if this person isn't a predator already. And I'm pretty sure their employers would want to know who they have working for them.
You're not going to find no DEI hires on that Epstein list because you know what? It's a middle-aged white man's game. The largest demographic of offenders are middle-aged white men. And I'm not even making that up. That's like actual statistics. And if you support this, like D.L. Hughley says, you have a favorite file.
Well, the veil has been lifted today because a whole bunch of pedos in the US of A are showing their colors, honey. They're taking to the internet to film videos to try to defend you for their orange friend. And well, the veil has been lifted, honey, and we see you. I have watched one white man after another over the last 24 hours whip out his phone and start filming videos, making excuses. This morning, I watched this white man hop on the internet with his full throat, honey, and tell the whole world, that he knows for a fact that if a man was stranded on a deserted island with a 14-year-old girl, that eventually he was going to touch her. And he said this so confidently, dear. He just knew. He knew from his own personal experience as a man that's what all men would do. And I just want to say something today for several men across the US of A, millions of men across the globe. You got it wrong, because under no circumstances whatsoever would my man touch a 14-year-old girl. I know that for a fact. I've watched this man get up off the couch and run to the bathroom and start vomiting, listening to me read through some of the emails. So it's not every man, honey. But his video reminded me of something. It triggered a memory in me. It triggered the memory of me as a young girl having already been abused by my neighbor, by my mother's friend, by the teenage boy that lived across the way. I remember watching Blue Lagoon, and I remember watching right there on my TV them sexualizing a young girl like me. I remember that so clearly. I remember thinking that day, nobody's ever going to believe a word I have to say. Ever. Because apparently, it's okay. When he said that about a desert island, that's all I could think. That's all I could think. Was watching Blue Lagoon as a little girl, as a young girl, and thinking, nobody's ever going to believe a word I have to say. Nobody's ever going to fight for me. Nobody's ever going to protect me. This is just going to keep happening to me over and over again because we make movies about it and we glorify it. But the veil has been lifted today because we're watching these men come out of the woodwork with all sorts of excuses to defend their vile behavior, their disgusting thoughts, their unforgivable actions. The veil has been lifted. So please, all of you, y'all take to the internet right away and please show us your face today. Those of you who think it's okay because you might be stranded on an island with a child. Because in your mind, there's a difference between 12, 13, and 14. Because in your mind, it's not as bad as 8. Yeah. Unveil yourself today. Let us all see you. So we can let your employers know, and your church know, and your school know, where your kids go. Yeah, they probably want to know too. So keep unveiling yourself, boo.
Let's say you're right. I'll grant that you're right, and he's on the list and all the things, and you're right about all the accusations you've been making. Why is it wrong that he did those things?
Are you asking me why it's wrong to children?
Yeah, I need you to tell me why it is wrong in your eyes
To
to
children.
do that. Yes. Do you need me to repeat it? Can you not hear me? Do you have too many cocks in your ears, or what's up? Why is it wrong? Is that too hard of a question?
It's happening. It's actually happening.
Why don't you actually answer the question?
It's actually happening.
No, because I asked the question. Why are you?
I didn't think this one, and then they'll defend it. Did that with J6. Did that with the J6 pardons. Did that with the Medicaid cuts. Did that with the SNAP cuts. Just didn't think they'd do it with.
Obfuscating. Let's just get to the fucking point, bro.
I just didn't think they'd do it with child. And now we're seriously at that point where Trump supporters are now saying that it's not wrong to children and asking why it is wrong to children.
Epstein wanted to genetically modify black people. I wonder at what point where black people were just magically going to fall into this situation. With newly leaked emails from Epstein day after day coming out, we then realized why they didn't want the Epstein files to get out. On a recent email between him and one of his colleagues, they then have a conversation about black people, about the mental capacity of black people, about the physical capacity of black people, why they are so good physically and why they are not so good mentally. They then talk about how to genetically optimize black people and pretty much combine the mental and the physical together and pretty much use black people. Shocker. But my thing is this. People tell you all the time, if you don't talk about racism, if you don't talk about racist people, if you don't mention racist people or address racist people, racism is just magically going to stop. And I tell people all the time, no, it's not. People moved to a whole entire town of only black folks, and racist people found their way there and burned it down. Imagine you're Epstein, you have millions of dollars. You are raping children, you are abusing children, you are traveling the world, and you still take the time to say, hey, what about black folks? They cannot help but to be in our business. It is genetically within them. And this is why no matter what, racism is not going to stop unless
so much darker and more sinister than we ever could have really imagined. Because it seems like every time we peel back a layer of his life, it just gets worse and worse. We know about the trafficking, we know about the blackmail, we know about the powerful people he surrounded himself with. But what if that's literally just the surface? Because there's another part that doesn't get talked about nearly enough. Jeffrey Epstein was not just a predator. He was not just a financier. He positioned himself right in the center of science, genetics, and human experimentation fantasies that sound like something straight out of a dystopian film. Let's start with what we do know, the documented facts. So Epstein was obsessed with genetics, eugenics, and the idea of improving humanity. He told multiple scientists that he wanted to use his New Mexico ranch as a place where he could impregnate dozens of women to, quote, seed the human race. Yeah, that's a real thing that he said. He funded genetic research, AI labs, neuroscience projects, longevity and transhumanism research. He hosted scientific gatherings at his homes and on his island. He sold himself as a visionary to Nobel Peace Prize winners and elite researchers. And this wasn't just a casual interest. He talked about eugenics the way other people talk about their hobbies. Now, there are rumors online claiming Epstein conducted human experiments on victims. Let's be clear, there is no verified evidence that Epstein ran a secret lab, performed medical procedures, or conducted biological experiments on people. However, there are survivors who described medical rooms, strange equipment, blood draws, and procedures that they didn't understand. These testimonies exist, but they haven't been corroborated in any court filings yet. So we're stuck in this gray area where the verified facts are terrifying and the unverified claims are even worse, but nothing about this man's behavior makes those claims sound anywhere near impossible, right? And honestly, when you look at all of this, it starts to feel eerily similar to the movie Blink Twice. A billionaire who surrounds himself with vulnerable women, a private island, secret rooms, projects, scientists, and powerful friends while hiding something much darker underneath. The movie is fiction, right? But Epstein's world was real, and it's worse than fiction. What if this is the real holdup with releasing the files? Because, to be honest, I don't think most people are going to be too shocked to learn that rich and powerful men are pedophiles. As sick as it is, it wouldn't surprise many people, but to learn that they were experimenting on unwilling humans, that would hit different. That's the kind of truth that doesn't just destroy reputations, it destroys institutions. The kind of truth that could topple governments and destroy countries, maybe. So maybe that's the reason they don't want the files released. Because what if the reality of Jeffrey Epstein isn't just dark in a disgusting pedo way? What if it's darker than anything we dared to imagine? Make sure you're following, because next I'm going to release all the scientists' names. What if the reality...
Hey guys, so the evidence has become so damning on Donald Trump that his supporters are now saying, what's wrong with graping children? Can you tell me what's wrong with graping children? That's the state that we're at. I need every single MAGA voter to understand this is you. Whether you don't believe in that sort of sentiment or not, if you still support Donald Trump, that's what you support. You are on the side of grape.
Hey there. As you might imagine, I've received a hell of a lot of pushback on my recent posts about child SA. But almost all of it hangs on a report from the so-called Center for Migration Control by one Robert Bates, a man so steeped in the hard right ecosystem and, surprisingly, a campaigner for Reform UK. You'll have seen the claims. Afghan men, Somalis and Albanians supposedly many times more likely to commit these kind of offences, and it's had my opponents frothing over the numbers as if they're some kind of slam dunk. Bates filed a Freedom of Information request to a handful of local authorities. He cherry-picked the responses and then span these scraps into sweeping claims about migrants as sexual predators. No peer review, no proper context, and a thunderingly dishonest dose of statistical sleight of hand. I strongly recommend you look up Lewis Aaron's excellent work dismantling Bates's methods. He shows the dishonesty with consummate elegance, and I'll link this great piece below. Yet as ever, the right-wing press and GB News have lapped it up, they've amplified it, and they've applied not a single modicum of scrutiny. I refer now to the most complete national dataset ever assembled on child SA, the 2025 CSA Centre report. It covers every recorded case in England and Wales where offender ethnicity was logged. I've captioned the figures above, and they show conclusively that white offenders are responsible for the overwhelming majority of cases. And more importantly, white men are the only group overrepresented per capita. Every other group is either proportionate or underrepresented. And yes, some cases don't log ethnicity, but when it's missed, it's usually white offenders who go unrecorded, which means the true figure for white offenders is almost certainly higher. So when people quote the dodgy dossier from Bates, they're not quoting the truth. They're repeating a distortion designed to stigmatize minorities and fuel hard-right narrative that is incredibly dangerous to our social cohesion. If we really care about protecting children, we should work with evidence, not with weaponized misinformation. Thank you so much for listening.
Do you guys want to know who's not named in the Epstein files? Well, Joe Biden and Barack Obama are not named in the Epstein files. Have a good evening.
You see how with everything Jeffrey Epstein had going on, he still had the time to sit down and write an email about genetically optimizing black people. Apparently our physical capabilities are amazing, however, we're just not smart enough. Can we figure out a way to make those blacks smarter? You don't understand what the obsession is. Like, you're literally looking at black children and measuring their cognitive development as opposed to their physical development. This man said that the reason black people excel in physicality is because their brains simply are not on the level of their white peers. And since physicality is easier, they will excel at that rather than intellectual-based things.
He wants the files released, but won't release them. He's focused on affordability by building a $300 million ballroom. He deserves a Nobel Peace Prize, but threatens war with Venezuela. He'll bring down prices on day one, but beef prices are at record highs. He's America first, but has a $40 billion bailout for Argentina. He's for the working class, but giving tax cuts to billionaires. He has a terrific healthcare plan, but won't tell us what it is. He's protecting federal buildings, but tore down the East Wing of the White House. He's cutting waste, fraud, and abuse, but added $2 trillion to the national debt this year. He wants men out of women's locker rooms, but walked into a teenage beauty pageant's dressing room. He's closing down the border, but opening it up for white South Africans. He's a Christian, but never goes to church. He's a businessman, but always goes bankrupt. He loves the military, but dodged the draft. He wants law and order, but he's a convicted criminal. He backs the blue, but not at the U.S. Capitol. He does all this, and you, my American friends, still support him. After 30,000 lies, 6 bankruptcies, 5 draft deferments, 4 indictments, 3 wives, 2 impeachments, and 1 insurrection. After COVID, tariffs, ICE raids, government shutdowns, bribes, corruption, pardons, selective prosecutions, illegal drug boat strikes, unconstitutional executive orders, and months of chaos. Because at this point, my dear Americans, submissive fellow journalists, spineless members of Congress, corrupt business leaders, cowardly university presidents, enabling law firms, out-of-touch rappers, and anyone else who normalizes this shit show, he's not the problem. You are.
Well, they didn't scrub everything. I don't know if you guys have been looking through the files like I have, but there are pages and pages, hundreds of pages that are just completely blacked out, which is completely illegal. However, they didn't scrub everything because I found something. And don't worry, I have receipts. Here you go. It looks like this was filed in 2020. She was 14 years old. She was 14 years old when Epstein took her to Mar-a-Lago and introduced her to Donald J. Trump. You can read it yourself. Epstein elbowed Trump playfully, asking him, "This is a good one, right?" She was 14. Trump smiled in agreement. I don't want any of you ever again telling me he's not involved in this. Read it yourself, even though they are combing through this, trying to redact any mention of anyone in their club. You can read it right here. Stop lying to yourself. Get on the right side of history.
Oh my God, soul sister, you are so right. I must have had too much eggnog yesterday. I left the 3 most important people out. 3 more, and the most important people, who were not in the Epstein files, who do not appear in the Epstein files, who do not need redactions, and they are, drumroll please, I'll put a drum roll. President Barack Obama did not appear in the Epstein files. And President Joe Biden did not appear in the Epstein files and did not need any redactions for anything. And last, but definitely not least, Kamala Harris did not appear in the Epstein files. Are you seeing a pattern here? Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris did not appear in the Epstein files. Need we say more? And thank you to Soul Sister for bringing that up.
They try their best to demonize black men, but who do we see almost exclusively, pervasively, singularly, only, unanimously in the Epstein files? I guess we ain't gonna talk about that though.
Epstein and some of his people were talking about how to genetically optimize black people and how to make us smarter. And there appeared to be some desire for a mechanical use of us in some form or fashion. I'm still reading and trying to decipher what I read, because it's a lot. It's like this in-depth analysis of us as if we are like animals. It is disturbing to watch or read. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm so tired of people being obsessed with us like this. It is weird as fuck. We be minding our business and somehow still end up in it. And us needing to be smarter, I encourage you to go read it. It's weird as hell. And they call us apes. Just look up blacks and you'll find it.
The first time you saw Donald Trump's name was in the Epstein files. Did you close the files or keep reading?
I have reviewed not the entirety of the files, so I
You haven't reviewed all of the Epstein files?
Personally, no.
You're the director of the FBI. This is the largest sex trafficking case the FBI has ever been a part of. Buck stops at the top, and your testimony today is you have not reviewed all of the files.
What I've been doing is been busy providing the safest country this country has seen in modern U.S. history in historic speed, because the men and women of the FBI are given the resources to reduce the homicide rate, to reduce the drug trafficking rate, to reduce the amount of children that are being trafficked and the number of pedophiles.
It sounds like those children being trafficked would appreciate the director reviewing the files. You said you don't know the number of times Trump's name appears in the files, so it could at least be 1,000 times. Is that right?
The number is a total misleading factor. We have not released anyone's name that we have not released anyone's name in the Epstein files that has not been credible.
Director, could it at
we have
least be 1,000
released
times?
every piece of legally permissible information.
Okay,
you can
so
characterize the numbers however you want it.
Reclaiming my time, Director. It sounds like if you don't know the number, it could at least be 1,000 times. Which
It's not.
means
It's not.
Is it at least 500 times?
No.
Is it at least 100 times?
No.
Then what's the number?
I don't know the number, but it's not that.
Do you think it might be your job to know the number?
My job is to provide for the safety and security of this country. My job is not to engage in political
And that
innuendo
includes protecting
so you can
sexual
go out to the
assault
sticks and get your 20-second hit in your fundraising
reclaiming my
article.
time,
But
Director.
keep going, reclaiming your time, because the
Director,
people of California
If
are being underserved by your
If the
representation.
president is not implicated, why not release everything that involves him?
We have released everything, the president and anyone else's side, that is credible and lawfully be able to be released.
Remembering your oath to tell the truth, did you ever tell Donald Trump his name is in the files?
I have never spoken to President Trump about the Epstein files.
Did you ever tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files?
The Attorney General and I have had numerous discussions about the entirety of the Epstein files and the reviews conducted by our team.
Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files?
And we have released where President Trump's name is in the
It's a simple
attorney's
question.
file.
Did you tell the Attorney General that the president's name is in the Epstein files?
During many conversations that the Attorney General and I have had on the matter of Epstein, we have reviewed
The question is
painstakingly
simple.
who
Did you
can
tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files? Yes or no?
Why don't you try spelling it out if
Yes
you're going
or
to mock
no, Director?
Use the alphabet.
Yes or no?
No? A, B, C,
Director,
D, E, F?
it
Don't
sounds
wanna
like
do
you don't want to tell us. Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name was in the Epstein files?
Why don't you try serving your
Director,
constituency
did
by
you tell the
focusing on
Attorney
reducing
General
violent
that Donald
crime in this
Trump's name-
country and the number of pedophiles that are
Director,
legally
reclaiming
harbored
my time,
in your
Director.
sanctuary cities in
Director,
California?
reclaiming
I'll
my
work with
time.
you on that. Do
Regular
you want
order,
to
Mr.
work with
Chairman.
us on that?
Director,
I'm
reclaiming
the
my
lawless
time.
gentleman from California.
Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files?
Question has been asked and answered.
You've not answered it, and we will take your evasiveness as a consciousness of guilt.
Bruh, Michael Jackson might be one of the most lied on people in human history. Let's just keep it real. I mean, when they said the Epstein files was being released and they was coming out, I had my doubts. I'm like, they don't sit on these things for too long. There's certain stuff they gonna bend up, reenact it, they gonna take out, and we just never gonna know about, right? We wanted to know about them billionaires. We wanted to know about these company CEO owners. We want to know about the people who run the world going to the Epstein Island. But you know what we got? Michael Jackson at a fundraiser with Diana Ross kids taking a picture. Lord of mercy. And they tried to insinuate that the kids was from somewhere else, not knowing those Diana Ross kids, and this for a fundraiser. It just shows you how the media is still trying to manipulate things to look away with Michael Jackson. All these years later, Michael Jackson is still a scapegoat. He's been gone for what, almost 2 decades now? He's still a scapegoat. And another person they threw out there as a scapegoat, and I kind of don't like that one, Chris Tucker. I don't like that Chris Tucker was thrown out there, because Chris Tucker admit he did go to that island one time. Chris was probably a fool trying to make political connections. You know, he was kicking it with Bill Clinton at the time. And if you want to keep it real, ever since Chris Tucker came back from that island, Chris Tucker has never been the same again. Chris Tucker gave his life to the Lord after that. You feel me? Think about that. Chris Tucker never did nothing after that. Chris Tucker admit he went there. He admit he went there. He seen something that changed his life forever. What did he see? Chris probably need to let us know that. But yeah, ever since Chris got back, you know, Chris ain't been the same Chris Tucker. He gave his life to the Lord. Chris Tucker, whatever Chris Tucker seen, it fucked him up, right? But it just lets you know, whenever these files do come out, it's gonna be a PG. It's gonna be PG. They're not gonna give us the real. They're not gonna give us the real. We beyond that. That shit is not happening, right? But it's just crazy that out of all the people that we expected, the main 2 people that they threw out there was black guys, right? Y'all should have known that was coming though.
Joe Biden, he's not in the files. Kamala Harris, she's not in the files. Barack Obama, he's not in there either. Donald Trump, he's in the files, the photos, the videos, the emails, this birthday scrapbook. It seems the more you look into Jeffrey Epstein, the more connections you find to him and Donald Trump, and the less you find to notable Democrats. But don't get me wrong, even if those connections come up, you wouldn't see me defend a single one of them. But Republicans, they really can't say the same thing.
Take a listen to how Trump's own voters are describing their own emotions right now on right-wing political call-in shows.
I feel really betrayed, and I feel really, really angry. We have a president who tells us to move on from Epstein because it doesn't matter. Are you guys still talking about this? Seriously? And yet he still talks about the 2020 election fraud. He talks about the Hunter Biden laptop. He talks about all this stuff from 5-6 years ago, and he tells us to move on from the Epstein trial or the Epstein case. People like me will not stop talking about this. I feel so betrayed and so angry. This is not what I voted for.
I'm concerned about being able to trust Donald Trump to keep his word. In his campaign, he said he was going to let us know all of the facts about this. And now he's saying, go away, don't pay attention to it.
These Epstein files, we were told that there was going to be released. There was this client list that was going to be released. And the fact that it's suddenly gone away and he's trying to gaslight us is like a punch in the gut to...
So we all know that historically, whiteness has functioned not only as a position of dominance, but also as a shield against accountability. So understand that when scandals emerge, especially those involving elite abuse, sexual exploitation, or corruption, there is often unconscious search for non-white actors to diffuse responsibility. So, critical race theorists describes this as a racial displacement, the impulse to direct moral blame away from dominant groups and towards historically criminalized populations. The absence of Black involvement in Epstein network disrupts all these mechanisms and structures that were placed by all these folks so that these can happen. Also, this disruption produces rage because it exposes an uncomfortable truth. Elite sexual exploitation in this case was overwhelmingly concentrated among powerful white men embedded in political, financial, and cultural institutions. So without Black figures to point to, the scandal can no longer be framed as universal moral failure across racial lines. Instead, it becomes a mirror reflecting how power, how wealth, and racial privileges insulated perpetrators, while victim, often young, female, and economical vulnerable, were ignored. At the same time, this anger also is tied to the collapse of popular stereotypes that associate Blackness with criminality and deviance. American media and legal systems have historically overrepresented Black people in narratives of sexual danger, while under-policing white elite abuse. When Epstein files contradict this script, it generates cognitive dissonance. Sociologists note that when dominant myths fail, the emotional response is often hostility rather than reflection. And additionally, some of this rage stems from fear of collective accountability. If Black people are not implicated, then whiteness can no longer claim moral equivalence or hide behind everyone does it arguments. So this scandal instead highlights how systems of power protects insiders. This aligns with C. Wright Miller's The Concept of Power Elite, where interconnected networks of wealth and influence operate with minimal consequences. And at the same time, this reaction also reflects resentment towards Black Americans, increasing disengagement from spectacle-driven racial discussion. As Black communities focus so much more on healing and internal development rather than public validation, there is less opportunity to weaponize Black presence as symbolic cover. So the Epstein files, devoid of Black names, reinforce the reality that Black absence from elite spaces also means absence from elite crimes. And ultimately, this rage that we are seeing surrounding the Epstein revelations is not about justice. It's about narrative control. When evidence challenges racial myths that have long justified inequality and deflection, it forces a reckoning that many are unwilling to face. So the discomfort arises not from who is named, but from who can no longer be blamed. So brothers and sisters, please let me know what you think and feel about this. I'm your host and presenter, H-Tech Stories. But until then, let me see you on my next video. Peace, love, and harmony. Salute.